Hi, everyone. I apologize ahead of time. This is going to be a little longer of a video. I'm not in video because I'm going to make it in different parts. And um, anyway, but I wanted to really take the time to fully explain this essay. This is the rough draft of it, but the more effort you put in the rough draft, the more feedback I can give you, and the better you'll do on your final draft. So, first, I want to go over just the basics of what it is that you need to do. So, when you go into your weeks for week 5, on the bottom, it again tells you when it's due. If you click here, it'll give you the instructions. Your copy is not highlighted or bold at all, but just like last week, I wanted to highlight some things just to make sure that we're all on the same page of what it is that you need to do. So, um, first of all, is you are using the outline and the feedback in order to do your rough draft. I'll go through this step by step. I'll show you that step of how it is you should do that, but definitely make sure you do that. Um, your essay is going to have an introduction paragraph. It needs to be at least 3 sentences. The reason I put at least as bold is because, like, personally, I don't prescribe to the your things need to be exactly this many sentences. Say what it is that you need to say, and you're good. However, you're not going to be able to say what it is you need to say in less than 3 sentences. It may take more, it may take 5 or 6. Um, but your introduction does need to be at least 3. You do need a hook, you need broad tape details, and you need a thesis. These all should have been in your outline. So, pretty much, you just put it in sentence form and make sure that it makes sense. After your introduction, you have 3 body paragraphs. Each body paragraph is a different reason why a degree will change your life. Each body paragraph is going to have major details that explain, describe, or inform. They can do all 3. They can explain, they can describe, they can inform, but it has to do one of those things. It has to give more detail. Um, your final draft, again, this is your rough draft. Your final draft is going to need to be 5 sentences at least per body paragraph. This one only needs to be 3 sentences per body paragraph. However, the more that you write in your rough draft, the more feedback I can give you, and the better it will be. Each of your body paragraphs need to follow the structure. You need a topic sentence, then you need your details, then you need to transition to the next paragraph. I am going to give you more resources for all of this to help, but each body paragraph needs at least 3 sentences. More would be better, but you need a topic sentence, you need details, and you need transition. You have your introduction, you have your body paragraphs, then you have your conclusion. Your conclusion needs to, again, be at least 3 sentences long. It can be more, but it has to be at least 3. You need to first transition so it makes sense going from your body paragraphs to your conclusion. Your lecture this week talks a lot about conclusion paragraphs. So, definitely, of course, take a look at the um, lecture, but I'll also have other resources for you. So you're transitioning so it makes sense and it flows. Then you're summarizing and restating the thesis. And then your last sentence should be expanding. Each time you have a conclusion, you're looking outside of what this essay is about. In this one, it's why are you motivated to complete your degree? You've talked about what it is, how your life is going to change, but what's going to keep you motivated to continue when things get hard, when life comes up and you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore. It's hard. What's going to keep you staying on track? And what you'll have to do in order to achieve this goal that you have before you. Just like last time, there is a rubric. And just like last time, I highlighted the key parts. So for the introduction and conclusion, you need at least 3 sentences at minimum. Your introduction needs a thesis statement, or it has one and it's a good one. Your conclusion restates your thesis and it uses different words for that. Should not be the exact same words. For your body paragraphs, you have at least 3 body paragraphs, and each of those body paragraphs talk about something different, meaning what are those 3 reasons or 3 ways that your life is going to improve after you have your degree. You need to have at least 9 sentences total, 3 per paragraph at minimum. You have a topic sentence and details for each, and then there's grammar and punctuation. The key here is that fewer than 5 significant errors are present. If it's something small where it's like, okay, well, you missed a capitalization, but I totally knew what you meant, and it's not that big of a deal, that doesn't count as significant. If there's a spelling error that I'm not really sure what the word was supposed to be, or if there's a lot of sentence fragments or run-ons, or if grammatically I'm just like a little unsure of what you mean, then that's where it gets into the significant errors. So that's as far as the introduction goes. So first thing that you're going to want to do is take a look at the instructions. From there, you are going to go to your grades because you want to use your outline. You really, really, really need to use your outline. But in order to do that, you need to look at your feedback. So under where it says My Grades, click on that. I've only done one thing. I did the outline as an example, and then I submitted it and made comments so that way I could show you what it is you do. So here, you want to come over here to the comment, and then if you double click, that's what it is. If you double click the title, where it's here, week 4, final essay outline, click here to submit, double click that. That will show you what it is that you've submitted, and it will show you your comments. In order to see a little bit better, I'm going to move this out of the way. All right. So for here, this is the comment I made. Again, different comments. Take a look at these comments, please. They are intended to help you think about things maybe a little bit differently. Use these comments when you start your essay, right? So step 1 is going to be look at the instructions. Make sure you understand the instructions. Let me know if there's any questions on the instructions. Step 2 is going to be looking at your outline. You really, really have to work on looking at your outline. Step 3 is going to be starting to write. After you've looked at all of your comments and you've seen, okay, what is it that are some suggestions? What is it that maybe you need to work on? Think of how it is that you can make those suggestions and go forward. So I completed a rough draft based on my outline to kind of help. So I have my first paragraph. If you noticed, each of my paragraphs are indented to make sure that it's clear what the different paragraphs are. You can always not indent and just have a space in between each. It's totally fine either way, but the key is differentiating between your different paragraphs. So looking at my outline, I'm like, okay, so I wanted to start with an anecdote, which means a story about going back to school. And then I have the suggestion of making sure it's not too long or too distracting. So I start with this of like, okay, well, going back to school, what did I think? My next part was why I wanted to go back. So, excuse me. So why I wanted to go back. My job was insecure, so I had to think kind of about what might happen in the future. So then I'm going to, okay, what's my next point? My next point. This comment here of, although the money and effort were sacrifices, it implies that I'm going to talk about the money and the effort being sacrifices, which is not what it is that I want to talk about. But I liked this sentence. I liked the way that I put it. So, in order to address that, I talked in this in this introduction paragraph about money and time being the reason why I didn't get my master's immediately, and how that kind of tied into it. So this part I can now put, which I wanted to, because I've kind of led up to it. So I've addressed that comment. Then, because I have my topic sentences already written, I could just copy and paste this. By earning my master's, I was able to have more doors. However, one of the comments that were made was this one. The most immediate benefit of completing my degree was receiving a bump in pay. Good, but since the most immediate, you might want to have it as the first body paragraph. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I agree with that. So I changed the order of my paragraphs. Instead of it being my second body paragraph, like it was in my outline, I'm changing it to my first body paragraph. So I'm taking the comments that have been stated and I'm using them. Then I talk about the school district where I'm at. I just kind of go over all of these things while I'm writing my essay. Then I go into here. My second body paragraph now is this one, which was originally my first body paragraph. I have my topic sentence. Here, I only wrote California Writing Project because it was just an outline, but I made it into a sentence here. This summer, I was invited to go to this. Then one of the suggestions of more opportunities at work, the suggestion was, what are those opportunities? So I was more specific about what those opportunities were. I didn't go into a super lot of detail, but I did make it a little bit more specific, which is what was suggestion. Also, another suggestion here is the fact that I added professional and intellectual development, but I don't really talk about that. So I liked the way I worded that. So I talked about how one of the opportunities I have now is being involved with the CATE conference. And so I talk about how the CATE conference helps me intellectually. So then I could go into the next part. Then I go into my third body paragraph. There were no suggestions there. So I just stuck with what was there, just made it into complete sentences. And same thing for the conclusion. So now that I have my rough draft all set to go, I am going to file, save as, download a copy. Because when I submit this, I want to make sure it's a Word document. Please, please, please submit everything as a Word document because then I can make better comments on it. I can write on the document itself, which will give you better feedback. So if you don't already know, the way that you do that is you go to the week that we're in, which is week 5. Go to the assignment. And then under there, go to upload files. I'm going to browse my local file, which means on my computer. I've just downloaded this onto my computer. So I'm going to browse local files and go to my documents. Nope, I lied. I just downloaded it. So I'm going to go to my downloads. And since I just downloaded it, it's the first thing that's there. Double click, and it's good to go. Okay. All you then have to do is click submit, and you're done. If you have any questions or concerns on anything, I will include my rough draft as well, so you can reference it if you would like.